Welcome to LIANZA 5 Minutes on Negotiating. When you think about negotiation, do you immediately imagine business dudes in suits and slow motion handshakes? Me too, but really, we use our negotiation skills every day of our lives, from dealing with difficult customers to talking about dinner choices with the members of our family. When you call up Vodafone to discuss your bill, or talk to your landlord about paying rent, you're engaged in negotiation. And the outcome of these discussions depends on how good you are at negotiating. The key to excellent negotiation is to get what you want without discounting the other person's needs. Believe it or not, negotiating is a fine art that can be learned. Some people are natural negotiators, while others have to practice. Whichever camp you belong to, there are traits that you have in common. The main one being assertiveness. Now, this has a bad reputation, but it's a misunderstood trait, often confused with arrogance and aggression. Successful negotiators are assertive. They know exactly what they want, and they're willing to challenge others to get it. They understand that everything is essentially negotiable, so to speak, and they're willing to fight for what they need. With assertiveness, the difficulty lies with being able to ask for something without anxiety, or worse, anger. You can be assertive and non-threatening at the same time. Often it boils down to the language you're using, your tone of voice, and your body language. So when you're negotiating, be forceful but respectful, strong but kind. Excellent negotiators know when to challenge the status quo. They don't take things at face value, and so they pose plenty of questions. To negotiate well, you have to be comfortable with asking the difficult questions. Don't be shy. When it comes to negotiating wisely, the first thing you need to do is listen. It may seem obvious, but this is an undervalued skill these days. It's too easy to assume that we know what the other party wants before the negotiations even begin. So how good are you at listening? Listening to others is important because it makes people feel respected and it helps to build trust between parties. Listening means really hearing what the other party is saying and understanding the intent and meaning behind that. If you're unsure, ask someone to repeat themselves. A great technique to demonstrate that you're listening is to repeat the person's words. If you've misunderstood them, they'll point out your mistake to you quickly. This is called mirroring, and it helps the person employing the tool to truly understand what's being communicated, while the person being mirrored will see this as an effort being made to understand them. The other negotiator has all the information you're looking for in order to seal your deal. You really just need to shut up and listen. It's not easy, especially if you're concerned with not being heard yourself, but we're so busy making sure that people hear us that we can easily forget to listen. It's a lost art, but one that must be honed if you're serious about negotiating. Great negotiators are like super sleuths. They ask probing questions and they know when to be quiet and listen. They gather as much pertinent information prior to their negotiation as they can. So before you go into a negotiating situation, think, what are the needs of the other party? Are they under pressure? What options do they have at their fingertips? Better yet, what do you each have in common? When you share a common interest with another person, you can work that common ground to your advantage. You've got to do your research because you won't be able to make your move without understanding the other side's negotiating points. And the better you understand, the stronger you are. When you want something so badly, it's easy to lose focus of the bigger picture. Eagle-eye focus is good, but not when you're unable to consider the other possibilities that might be presented to you. For instance, if you're going for that raise and your boss isn't able to give you what you want at this time, by thinking outside the box, you might be able to ask for something that will lead to a promotion or raise down the track. Did you know that successful negotiators are optimists? It's an easy equation. If you expect more, you'll get more. Why not try negotiating from a rather extreme position? By this I mean you should ask for way more than you ever hope to receive, or less than you're willing to pay. If you live your life with low expectations, you won't get the satisfying outcomes that you want in your heart of hearts. Sometimes when you're fixated on an outcome that benefits you directly, it's easy to forget about the other people involved. Guilty as charged? Don't worry, you're not a monster. This is a perfectly human thing to do. That said, if you go into a negotiation with a win-win attitude, your chances of success will be higher. It might seem strange considering you're negotiating in order to get the deal that is best for you. So why should you think about the other person? Well, consider this. Kindness is a killer negotiating tactic. People will find it harder to say no to you when you're murdering them with respect, generosity, and thoughtfulness. It's a great approach, but it does need to be genuine. For example, that raise you're going for? Consider the strain your boss is under to keep the business profitable. If you're mindful of the other person's position and consider how your wants and needs will affect those around you, you're far more likely to be successful. Going in guns blazing with a me attitude is simply not going to work. If you're able to convince the other person that you've both got something to gain from your proposal, you have a much higher chance of success. During negotiations, the other party may seek to nip your proposal in the bud by offering a counter-offer, objecting to what you're asking for. A classic example of this is when you're on the phone with your telephone company looking for a way to lower your bill, and the person on the phone says they don't have the authority to action your request. Case closed. This tactic works because people are time poor and they don't usually have the time or energy to continue the fight. They give up. But you can counter the counter. This is the time to ask to speak with someone with the authority to grant your wish. You may encounter some grumbling, but keep pushing. Respectfully, of course. Whatever you do, don't take a rejection personally. I know this is easier said than done when you're negotiating with someone with a difficult temperament, but just try to understand their behaviour and focus on the problem you're trying to solve. Take your time and don't rush. If you show impatience, the other party has the upper hand. Remember, you've got options. You've got to be willing to walk away, but don't threaten this during negotiations. Say it to yourself. How much is this deal worth to you? Can you afford to walk away if the outcome doesn't favour you? Your resolve will lead the other party to make concessions. The person who has the most to lose is the one who is least likely to come out of the negotiation with the winning hand. So if you play the role of the negotiator with time to spare, no pressure, focus and confidence, the other negotiator will sense your inner strength and play it smart by cutting a deal. We want to wish you the best of luck as you head out and practice these new negotiating skills. Do feel free to comment below if you have any luck or if there are any tips or tricks that you could suggest that might work in a successful negotiation. Good luck.